see and you hear that only on the radio, or you get it only on the television, and you see foreigners coming to tell you exactly what to do with that particular thing. So is it that we are living just by theories and not practice of reality, or is it that something is holding us? That thing is what is stopping us from achieving exactly our objective and doing that which is right. In my mind, as an analyst and as a concerned citizen,
yes,
I will insist that except the military establishment, the security services establishment in Nigeria sits up and follow the philosophy by which they are established to bring protection to the people, I think this issue is becoming ridiculous, and the outside world is laughing at us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ngamsa. In fact, you have sort of summarily answered the question I was going to ask. So what does all of this tell you in terms of a renewed hope that we were, this is the mantra that we were all singing, that look, whatever it was like before, things are going to be different. And you also asked another question in there, what exactly is happening with our own intelligence gathering? This is going to make it even harder because subject to what you think, one hears that these expeditions, these killing expeditions, have been in the nature of punitive strikes. Say, oh, you know how to talk to the authorities, right? So you now descend on a people, helpless people, with their superior firepower. As you, in fact, you even said it, this is getting even more ridiculous by the day. So what hope is there? We can't give up hope, but really, analyze the scant hope that is available, or is it more than scant?
Well, you know, recently I followed the NSA, that's the National Security Advisor, where he was given, you know, a scorecard of what they've been able to do. That in itself is commendable, looking at the space, you know, and the largeness and the enormosity of the problem. You know, we have to take contextual issues to mark. He specifically talked about, you know, the personalities that are involved in doing banditry in some parts, and even the Boko Haram. That they also measured, you know, the limited successes they've had, you know, on the vanishing of some of the characters that are masterminding that particular thing. Now, number two, you can follow exactly what they're also doing as to the idea of trying to clamp down on financiers of this terror. You know, they've been able to bring even a lady sponsor or some kind of things like that, and they're following them more effectively and having some results. Let's assume that strategically that is going to give us, you know, a space to accept the fact that the NSA, the security establishment in Nigeria, is working at least to bring the situation under control. But then, like you rightly said, we're not to underestimate where these characters are coming from, or even the intensity and the volume and the engagement and the sponsorship that goes into Boko Haram. Perhaps our nation at practical level are not trying to understand, you know, what other people have understood. A number of us have been brought in by non-governmental organizations, specialists, you know, that can offer philanthropy in the area of security advice. They've given us training. And what they tend to tell us and what we tend to learn, and even what the communities get to understand, is the fact that something can be done. Because at that level of engaging local communities, you know, such NGOs have done very credible things, good enough at least for security services to adopt. At least, if you meet an ordinary person in anywhere there is a crisis, Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, or wherever NGOs have been to, they have locals, they have vigilantes, they've even trained our own formal security services on how to utilize, you know, early warning, early response technique, at least to get good information enough to preempt and to stop some of these things. Now, one sets to wonder, you know, why there is a gross failure in the aspect of trying to bring this collaboration, not only between the security services, but also between local communities and traditional rulers good enough to do it.
Okay.
Now, let me assume that with all my frustration on this issue and some of my participation in raising awareness and sharing concern, that something will effectively be done and that the NSA will re-strategize and make something that will have to be more of people-oriented, kind of security-generated information, good enough for them to establish and to do that which is right.
Okay.
Now we are tired in this country. Our frustration goes on, that attacks are done on ordinary citizens, and records that are coming from what people are saying about, number of casualties differ from what comes from the security agencies. I think that is not done anywhere in the whole world. When we take examples of civilized democracies, organized nations, and even smaller nations, when something happens, you get to hear only one figure about the number of casualties.
Yeah, that's right.
Not the security forces saying 39, or 40-something, and then the citizens themselves are saying over 100.
Exactly.
So who do you believe? That shows that there is an open space.
One second,
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Ngamsa. Let me bring in Mr. George, who I want to thank you very much, Mr. George. You've held on for so very long. Thank you very much for your patience. Go ahead, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to the special advisor.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, I do not see any difference between Boko Haram and the bandits and the kidnappers. They simply change modes. It is the same group of people. You see, when the military concentrated in the northeast, they sort of relapsed and then moved to other areas. That's where the bandits came about and the kidnappers making money. As security agents are also trying to tackle the bandits in one zone or the other, they will go back. They couldn't have been idle for 2 years or so now that they were, quiet in the northeast, for them to just suddenly come up again. What surprises me, many people have been advising security agencies on their approach to these things. Why don't you form groups of security agents and approach this thing from different directions, zone by zone? This is what I mean, Uncle Yori. If it is northeast you want to tackle, send a team of security people and let those security people surround them and be coming to them from different directions and fish them out. Do it in the same way in another zone. But I don't know, the military may be wise. I don't know why they do not want to adopt that approach. A few days ago, I saw the Minister of State for Defense in military uniform trying to do some kind of showmanship. It's not called for, Uncle Yori, that they want to fish out bandits and kidnappers in a particular zone, I think northwest. Do they think that the criminals are fools? When you give them notice that you are coming, you are already telling them what to do. Yesterday, I saw one of the criminals or the leaders of the criminals on YouTube. He was